mind just doing giving us that little clap?
Lights are still on, John. Clap on. This is one of my first guitars. I bought it when I was 17 years old in the Bylines press. It was like the recycler. And it said orange guitar, Gretch, $100. And there it was. I wanted to look like Eddie Cochran. I didn't know if it sounded any good. I got $100 together, which was a lot for, 17-year-old, back in where did I get this? Late 70s. I'm gonna ask the guy, is it like Eddie Cochran's guitar? And what? Who? And this guitar he started to refinish it, so the wood was in one side and all the electronics were in a shoebox. No case. I got it for $100. I took the guitar in one hand and the shoebox in the other hand and had the pickups in it and everything. And I put it back together. It's a 59 Gretch, Chet Atkins model. 6120, and I've owned it since I was 17 years old. It's come back and forth, it's been stolen, it's been left on taxi cabs, it's been lost on airplanes, it's been left places because everybody was drunk, and it's made its way back to me every time. Here's a weird thing that only guitar players would care about. So you see how thick that guitar is? That's the thickest one Gretsch made. And then in 1960, they came out with a little thinner, right? They had features that crossed over. So they had a 0 fret in there, they had a thinner body, and they had all that stuff for 1960. 59 had the thicker body, right? So this had a 1960 serial number, but the features started to cross. So it still had the thick body, right? And it really shouldn't, because that body had gone away. And it still had that enamel face Bigsby. And it shouldn't, because this is supposed to be a 1960. So it kind of had the best of both worlds. It had the best of all the features that you like. And there's really none others that existed like that unless you made it happen. This is just a one-off guitar that got stuck in the middle somewhere. The last guitar in 1959. It's very odd that it actually was made. So I don't know. I think it sounds a little different because of the thicker body. Inside the guitar, they have something called trestle bracing. All right, so it looks like a trestle, and you can't see inside the guitar. I'm thinking some guy's looking out the window at the Gretsch building, which is in Brooklyn, and he's looking at the Williamsburg Bridge. I know how to make it. Stop feeding back. I'm going to put a bridge inside it. We'll call it a bridge. He's looking at the Williamsburg Bridge. That's the way I would think if I worked there. And he put that inside. They had started to make them lighter and more resonant so the guitar would breathe better. In 1959, they were really heavy. This has the light one. It sounds better than the older ones because it breathes more. Like I said, this has the weird features from both years. And I think it's a one-off guitar. I think it has a lot to do with how it sounds. I used to throw the guitar up and catch it, right? Way as high as I could. I would go wham, snatch it out of the air, start playing it. People would go, wow. I missed it once. I was in Tokyo and I lost it in the lights and I couldn't see it. It just disappeared. And all of a sudden, down it comes, and I went, and I missed it. Nothing was in my hand. And it made this god-awful sound. Like, how could you do this to me? And split the neck right off, right there. It split it. Just the neck flew into the audience, and I had the body in my hand. I was, oh my God, I ruined my guitar. And only in Japan, some guy brought me the neck back, right? Anywhere else, they would have stole it. He brings me the neck back, and I said, well, I guess that's it. Tom Jones put it back together for me, and it didn't play right for a couple of years. It just didn't have it. And then all of a sudden, it started to play right again. I don't know why. Maybe the neck just became one piece again, But now it plays and sounds great. I don't throw it up anymore. When I bought this guitar, I mean, these guitars were made for country and western music, right? And they're pretty rare to find anyway. But I wanted to play rock and roll with it. And a lot of stuff didn't work. So I plugged it in and it wasn't very loud. So I realized the pickups were low. Now, you know, this is a 17-year-old kid. I took out the pickups and I took matchbook covers and I folded them up and I stuck them in there and put the screw down so they're raised up. They're still in there. That was the first thing I did to get it working. It didn't have any knobs. So I know they're commonplace now, but in 1977, nobody had drilled out Monopoly dice and put them on a guitar. So I took, you know, the game out of our closet and went into the garage and used Dad's drill and I drilled out Monopoly dice and I put some crazy glue in there, and that's that. So now I had knobs. And then the rest of it is just customization because I wanted it to be mine. So, you know, I went to the local 5 and dime, 5 and 10 we called it, right? And got, you know, decals and Halloween stuff. Like I used to have a cat up there, but I don't know what happened to it. No, actually, this is a decal from Ed's Lawnmower Repair Shop. Ed's Lawnmower Repair Shop. They had a whole thing of decals in the bottom. So, you know, oh, that looks cool. A girl sitting on a record. Put that on there. And throughout the years, I, you know, just put stuff on it. You can see it's got a lot of wear and tear. But by then, it had almost played right. And the last thing we had to do, it had something called a 0 fret. All right, this was an additional fret. And the guitar wouldn't play in tune. Well, I had a gig. I don't care about, you know, what's original on the guitar anymore. I have to play it. I have to play in tune. So we took a chisel and knocked it out, and we moved the nut up. So that should be right there. There's a spot behind it. That's where the nut originally was. We moved it up. All of a sudden, it played in tune. And we kept doing that as, you know, I got more popular and we played it more on the road. I keep changing things to suit me. We changed the tuners, changed the bridge. We just kept doing things like that to get it to work. And eventually we got it pretty close, you know, to where it is now. These things weren't discovered yet. We were making it up as we went. My guitars didn't show up to a gig. The first show, the guitars didn't show up. Where are the guitars? We set them in the case, in the container. So they were stolen. Someone stole them. I mean, it killed me. Stole my baby. We didn't know what happened to it. I actually went on a police sting because they thought they had it, and it wasn't. It was someone else's guitars, and they were stolen. But the cops said, well, it's not your guitar, so. But they're still stolen. Too bad. So, since I was 17, I had the guitar for probably at that time, 30 years, and it was just gone. Then one day, we got a call. Somebody walked in to court with 2 guitars because they had caught someone with something else. They said, you either bring something you stole or I'm going to throw you in right now, I'll throw you in jail. And he walked in with this guitar into the courtroom. I got it back. He scratched out the serial number. All right, I'll take it back. And I had gotten insurance for it. And the insurance said, you probably just want to keep the money, right? I said, no, I want the guitar back. They said, that's like the first time that's ever happened. Nobody ever gives the money back. So I gave him the money back and I got the guitar. But that was kooky. Yeah, it turned out to be, you know, some dude that was stealing all kinds of stuff from Rocket Cargo, from a cargo company. So yeah, I've recorded Stray Cat Strut and Rock This Town on this, Runaway Boys, all the Stray Cat stuff. I used it pretty much until I found the Smoke guitar with the big band. And I still took this out, but kind of retired it a little bit. Gosh, it still sounds good.
Ticket to heaven that he had to sell, but I guess I missed the fine print about the detour to hell.